Hello everyone, it's Marilyn. Welcome to KK's Quilt Studio. Today we have a question from Leanne from my Art and Stitch Facebook group. If you aren't already a member, I hope you'll join. Just look for the link below in the comments section. And I love questions from members, and I do my best to give them a great answer and lots of options because there's always more than one way to do just what seems to be one task. So today we're going to talk about getting words on a curved line or maybe making a sentence curve. So Leanne wants to know, how can I do that? So I'm going to give you some options today. So let's pop over into our Art and Stitch software. Now, in Leanne's question, she wasn't specific about if she's working on embroidery or actually quilting. And I did this curvature of letters using my Art and Stitch Plus. The Plus is an add-on piece of software to your Art and Stitch base software that you may have received with your long arm. So you'll see I have a third vertical toolbar here, and up here at the top, if you click on that little arrow, there's a fly out menu, and I chose this letters on a circle. Now, when you use this tool, it uses the pre-digitized letters that are found in Art and Stitch Plus. So if I click on the one that I did, you'll see that it actually designs it on the circle. And over here in properties is the upper and the lower curvatures. So I can type anything into this box simply by highlighting or hit delete, and then type anything in on your keyboard, choose your font, and then click apply. And you can size this, and we've covered this in classes and other places on in my Facebook group. So that is one way to design letters on a curve. Now you could choose just to put text at the top or put text at the bottom, and then you can reshape the curvature or size of the lettering. Now, if we open up a new page, and you'll see on that first tab, I was in the embroidery mode. Now, whether you have base or plus, you can be in the embroidery or quilting mode. But with base, you do not have the extra embroidery options that you would find in the plus software. So, as I said, let's open up a new page, and you'll see now the design style is quilting. So to change from quilting or embroidery to quilting, under preferences, if you click the drop down menu, I was in embroidery, now we're in quilting, and just leave the machine format at the default DXF, and then just click OK. So now we're in the quilting mode. So there's a couple options here you might have. We have a text tool, which is TTF or True Type fonts, and those are fonts that are found on your computer. And I've typed in here quilted with love, and I'm going to click OK. Again, you can change the lettering. I clicked a little fast there. Here you can choose the font from any of the fonts that are on your computer. You can work with them, and we'll just click out of there and say OK. So with this option, probably the first thing you might think of is design on path. Well, with that, you'll see that if we have an arc, and our letters are quite big, if I look at this, they're about 6 inches wide, and my width here is 10 inches. So let's cancel out of here, and let's actually make our letters just a little bit smaller so we don't get the two repeats, or we can change the path dimensions here. We can change that. Just type in 6 and then quilt or click apply. Now you see I've got one piece of artwork, and that is indicative of the design on path. They look at this phrase as one piece of artwork. So no matter what shape I choose, I'm going to get a repeat. And my text isn't really curving, is it? I'm getting a shape, a round shape of that quilted with love. Maybe that's what you want, or maybe that's not exactly what you were looking for. I will say, if we go to the libraries and choose a shape, let's take a little heart. Let's make him a little bit smaller. I'm gonna fill, and what's a heart without being pink, right? Okay, so let's click on that one piece of artwork, design on path, and there, that is more what the design on path tool is for. Whether we do a circle or an arc or any of the shapes that are involved here, that's more what the design on path tool is for in Art and Stitch, is to repeat one piece of artwork. And when we use this text tool, you'll see that we can click on individual letters. And so we actually have more than one piece of artwork. But when we click the whole phrase or string of letters, then it's trying to repeat that whole string of letters. So I'm going to give you one more option. Let's click on that phrase again, and let's go down to transform. Not transform artwork, that's something different, but we're going to be using transform. And I right clicked, and now here we have all these envelope shapes. And if I use the convex top, concave bottom, you'll see that gave a little lift to my letters. Okay, let's do that again. Transform, and it gives it a little more curvature. And you can keep repeating this same procedure, right click, transform, and repeat the same tool. And you'll see that it keeps arching the letters. But we're getting a little bit of distortion with the letters with each click. So just be aware of that. Okay. Also be aware that here in our shapes tool, under the folders, let's click that down arrow. We have the quilt alphabet and text. And here we have quilted with love. Now again, this is a pretty large piece of artwork, and that's everything in the library folders. They're all artwork. They're there as part of the package. And if we go down, we can try that. We get a little arc to our letters. Okay, if we try design on the path, we're going to get the same thing. Of course, there's nothing there, or is there? But just keep in mind that, look, our size here is 6 to -7. We're almost 13 inches. So if we increased the size of this, so let me type in 16 and then hit apply, and there it shows up. There's my arc. But see, we still haven't quite arced our letters. So sometimes we need just a little bit of extra help with our artwork. So let's go over and take a look at a program that I've used many times before. It's a free open source software program called Inkscape. And just like Art and Stitch is a graphic program, Inkscape is also a graphic program. So we can draw a shape such as a circle, and we can wrap text around that circle. We can apply it to the curvature of that outside of the circle, or we can apply it on the inside. Here you'll see that we can curve text, and this is with tools found up here under the Path Effects tool. And I'm using a tool called Bend, and we're going to bend our path. You'll see I get a line through that text, and now when I click on the line, I get tools to curve, just like we have those little anchors in Art and Stitch when we draw lines. Very much the same. We're dealing in Art and Stitch with uh, graphic design software, basically, in order to create something for our embroidery or for our quilting machine. So you didn't know that you were becoming a graphic artist, didn't you? You have all these wonderful tools in Art and Stitch, but it's limited, and there are even more tools, but probably way more tools in Inkscape that you can use and then save. You can save this text, go back to select, and then you can just save it as and save it as a plain SVG and add that to your Art and Stitch. Just give it a name and click Save. If we come back into Art and Stitch, we'll open a new file and then go to File, Import Artwork, and we can bring in that drawing that we had from Inkscape. And now we can, well, I just grabbed one letter there, didn't I? I need to click this whole piece of text, and there is text design, that's artwork. We can click off fill and click apply. I didn't select the Y, so he still has a fill, and say okay. And likewise, let's do a new page. Let's go back to that quilt alphabet and text and click on that. Let's save this piece of artwork. Let's go File and Export Artwork, and let's make it into an SVG file. I have that one right here. We'll click Save and say yes, and let's pop back over into Inkscape, and now I can actually, let's import, and let's go find quilt text. There it is, and say okay, and there is our design. We want to click that tool, say plus, we want to use the bend tool, and we want to bend the path. You'll see it gives me that green little line, and there I can work with it the same as I did with the previous text. Grab those handles, let's move up a little bit, click on that, and we can curve it any way that we like. We're just quilting, or this, we're just curving that path, which is the green line, by using our little handlebars, and you can resize that, send it back to Art and Stitch, just the same as we did before. So that's how a few of the ways that you can curve your text, wrap text around a circle or another shape, whether you have Inkscape, Corel Draw, or Adobe Illustrator. These are all vector drawing tools and work hand in hand with the vector art that we create in Art and Stitch. So I hope you've enjoyed this informative video and you'll try your hand at curving and designing your next text file in Art and Stitch.